can you formally introduce yourself and tell us what your role here is here at St. John's?
Yes, so I am now an associate professor in communication at St. John's. So that means I'm a faculty member in the Collins College of Professional Studies. I've been in that role ultimately for 7 years, I guess now. 7, is that right? Must be 7 years coming up on the start of my 8th year. And then my other role now is as the director of the brand new LGBTQ plus center.
Very nice. So about the Resource Center, when was it established at St. John?
We became a recognizable entity, I'll say, in fall of 2021, and had a soft opening where we had our first programming in the spring of 2022. So we had several events. And again, I'm sure we'll probably talk more about those details, but just in terms of the overall timeline, officially kind of named and recognized fall of 2021, soft launch and first series of programming in spring 2022.
If you had to summarize the essence of this organization, of this institution, in just a word or two, what word or words come to mind for you?
For everyone is kind of the where we started, right? We want to offer resources for everyone.
How would you describe the purpose and mission of the Resource Center further? So I know you kind of said that, saying like, oh, what is our mission, and kind of summarized it as for everyone, but could you expand on that for us now?
Absolutely. So, within the larger kind of ecosystem of a university, one of the goals overall is who are the different populations of people that we want to serve, and in what ways can we serve them, right? And particularly for St. John's, we have more specific missions that center around the Vincentian ideals of, human dignity for everyone, right? So the St. John's mission, so there's kind of like the mission of higher ed in general, right? Like what is college for, and who is it for, and in what ways? So there's sort of that top level. And then there's the little bit more specific mission of St. John's is this kind of education this more specific kind of education that we're trying to offer to our students that revolves around acts of service and human dignity, and considering the whole person in their pursuit of intellectual engagement. And so then a center is a little bit even more specific iteration of, those kind of tiers of missions and objectives. And so for us, then we wanted to say, all right, we know that we operate under this kind of Vincentian mission of higher education. And within that, we want to think about specific populations that fall under the LGBTQIA plus umbrella. So, queer students and lesbian and gay and, gender nonconforming and all sorts of people for whom the kind of general, stamp and packet of welcome to college might be challenging in other ways when it comes to things like our gender representation, when it comes to things like sexuality, when it comes to things like relationships, when it comes to things like social engagement and interaction, and when it comes to things like what kinds of what kinds of scholarly pursuits are important to this community. And so with all of that in mind, that's kind of a way to say we wanted to then create a tangible and concrete space and place where we can kind of fulfill the mission of higher education, fulfill the mission of St. John's in ways that are helpful and specific to LGBTQIA+ students, staff, and faculty, in ways that keep in mind, right, also the specific aims and challenges for members of that community, members of those communities who are at St. John's and who are, you know, in Queens and the city of New York, even kind of larger. So
yeah, it sounds like you guys have a really solid foundation. You have a lot of like core pillars that you're building out from. And as the center grows and genuinely becomes an integrated part of culture and student and faculty life at St. John's, where would you like to see it go in the future from where you are now?
Sort of some of the foundational things that we wanted to do, such as providing information about gender inclusive housing and gender inclusive restrooms on campus, about ADA and accessible spaces on campus, providing information for people, as well as kind of being at the forefront of making sure that we're constantly reassessing accessibility for everybody on campus in those ways. Things like, you know, serving as a liaison to those varying communities to disseminate the existing information, and then also kind of pushing forward the resources that we have. So that was sort of the step one, and I think we're at a nice effective place with that, in terms of we sort of have established ourselves this past year as a point of connection for all the different things that are already happening, right? The LGBTQ+ Center is certainly not the only place where these sorts of efforts are happening or have been happening at St. John's. But we wanted to be able to be a kind of consolidated hub for all of those efforts, right? To sort of bring together the work that so many different people and departments and groups are already doing. So that's sort of a, you know, I'm gonna say we check that item off, but that's kind of a, yeah, that is a project in progress that we feel really good about. And then moving forward, we want to expand our efforts beyond only kind of the integration of the St. John's community. And I talked about this a little bit before, but right, to really establish ourselves as a hub of LGBTQ+ resources and research within Queens and within New York City. And so we want to grow our collaboration. We want to grow our reach and our connections externally as well. And, you know, just some of the things that we have talked and thought about doing and are excited about include, you know, producing a kind of an incubator for queer research, interdisciplinary queer research, so that not only can we identify the people, again, like myself and Dr. Smalls, who are already doing research like that on campus, but also bring in visiting scholars, you know, hopefully working through grants and fellowships to attract potential graduate students to come and doctoral fellows who want to, you know, come here and be part of what we're doing. And really kind of our next, I think, big phase is going to be pushing the academic and sort of scholarly research side of the center.
Yeah, that's really awesome, especially that whole notion of strength and community that can arise from that kind of intersectional collaboration. That's really powerful in its own right, especially out of a traditional institution like a university and like St. John's in particular. So building off of that idea, what kind of role do you think an institution like a university has to play in championing things like equality and creating truly inclusive environments for members of the LGBTQIA+ community to do this kind of work and to generally just thrive?
Any institution of higher ed, but especially an institution that, hangs its hat on the Vincentian mission so strongly as St. John's, has a real responsibility to continually do the work of lowering the barriers to entry for higher education. And, in general, that's the purpose, like I said, of the center, of the LGBTQ plus center, but also we have other, we have the Academic Center for Excellence for Inclusion and Equity. CRES now has a sort of similar academic-based center on St. John's campus, which is focusing on critical race and ethnic studies specifically. And these are all different ways. I think these are all just different kind of branches of the same big stream of inclusion that are saying, how can we work as an institution to help people who are here, certainly, and also people who might not even be here yet or can't get here? How can we help them engage in really the pursuit of knowledge, which
especially since passionate individuals are often the ones who drive that broader systemic change. What do you think the role of the individual is when it comes to allyship at a university like St. John's?
I think when we see inclusivity for everyone as beneficial to the community as a whole, then that is a great first step, right? But I think the phrase that you used, right, the sort of culture shift, the culture change happens when I truly internalize the idea that it's not enough to just want that for somebody else. I'm a good person, so I want people to feel comfortable, and I want everybody to be happy, right? And I want my friends who are different than me to have all the things that I have in life, right? That's great. But there's still a fundamental disconnect between understanding how we all benefit as a society. It doesn't just mean, well, it's nice of me, like I'm gonna pat myself on the back because I think I want this for other people too, but truly thinking and understanding and operating in my everyday life as the underneath the umbrella of the greater good, right? Like the Audre Lorde quote, right, about my liberation is bound up in everybody else's. And I think that's the fundamental part. Like, we can do nice things and be nice people and be good allies in that way, but until I think we really cross the line where we see it as a net positive for our community, for our university, for our city, for our country, for our society, more inclusivity and more rights are a net positive. Building each other up is building all of us up. Like, we all win when we all win, right? There's sort of the myth, the scarcity myth, which has ruined and continues to start so many social fires and stoke so many social inequalities. The scarcity myth that more rights for some means less rights for others, and more representation for some means less representation for others. That's actually not true, right? It is a cumulative effect of human and civil rights and representation in society that can make us all better.
Keeping both the Resource Center and general social trends in mind, how do you think St. John's can strive to be more inclusive for members of the LGBTQIA+ community?
The best advancements, we'll say, the most progress and the most tangible progress that has happened across the 7-8 years that I've been here has pretty much been a direct result of listening to students, finding out what students are saying and what their experiences are, and making campus changes and policy changes based on that direct communication. And so finding ways to channel student concerns and student feedback, finding effective ways to hear students when they say, this is what's happening and this is what we want. You know, this is what will make our lives better here as students at St. John's. I mean, just for a small example, you know, the preferred name policy, which has kind of slowly grown over the past, like much, I guess, you know, action happens slowly and then all at once. So the preferred name policy was something that students were saying for a while, right? I want to be able to put my preferred name, even if it's not my legal name, quote, right? My government documented name. I want to be able to put my preferred name into the UIS system, into the LMSs where my professors will have access to it and things like that. And so that was something that was students making it known, this is a problem that I have and it's negatively impacting my experience here at St. John's as a student. It's negatively impacting me from doing all those things that we talked about that like higher ed should, you know, lift people up to do. And just this year, you know, we had a group of students led by, supported by Spectrum undergraduate student organization, by the Radical Free Store campus organization, who were saying, we want to have our chosen names printed on our diplomas. And, you know, we want to be able to like make that decision here. And this was something that, you know, I heard about from students coming to me and saying, we're in this, you know, discussion with human resources and with the registrar and et cetera. What can we do to make our voices heard? What can we do and how can we communicate with administration? I think that's what we have to do, right?
Yeah, so communication and innovation in communication are really going to be the key to equitable progress here. What are some of the best ways for students to connect with and be part of your center's efforts?
We are working on our permanent space in terms of the actual physical space. So we have been temporarily housed in DAC on the first floor of DAC, sharing some offices with Student Affairs and Office of Multicultural Affairs, which has been great while waiting for our permanent spaces. So hopefully, and don't, you know, quote me on this if it doesn't pan out exactly, but the exclusive, I'll give you the exclusive that our permanent space, it looks like, is going to be on the second floor of St. John's Hall. And so one way and we hope to have our official, you know, digs ready for fall opening semester for fall. So one way is just come by. You know, one of the things that we've really talked about a lot, and when I say we, I mean, I just want to make a quick sidebar to clarify, because I can't believe I've done this whole interview without making this really clear. But when I say we, you know, I'm sort of talking about the whole center, but even more specifically, I'm talking about myself and my co-director, co-founder, accomplice, incredible inspiration, and just kind of all around amazing person, Dr. Shante Paradigm Smalls. And usually, I don't want to speak for Dr. Smalls, but generally when I say we, or whenever I talk about the center, I'm really talking about the two of us. We have a bigger team that's being built, but really it's been Dr. Smalls and I doing it all. And so, I mean, Dr. Smalls has been doing this work at St. John's even a little bit longer than I have. One of the things we really wanted to do to get back to the important part of answering your question is make a space, a physical space on campus that was visible, that was centrally located, that was open, that was accessible, that everybody from all those communities could feel welcome to just come there and say hey and say what's up and borrow, you know, my John Waters DVDs collection. I mean, I know most of you all don't have DVD players, but we have books, and, you know, we want to have a lending library, and we want to have a hangout space, and we want to be a real physical, you know, collaborative, connective, inspirational space on campus. And so that's the number one way. And again, we hope by fall semester, we'll have our permanent home that people can come and be welcome to just be in and to visit us. The other way also, obviously, and I think for students especially, you just need one person who is going to hear you out and sort of connect with you and take up your cause. And, you know, not to give myself too much credit in this way, but I think I've been fortunate enough to be that point of connection for so many students over the past, you know, not just at St. John's, but 12, 13 years that I've been teaching at the college level. And if you can find Dr. Smalls or myself, we will be liaisons. But also, if you can just find one kind of professor, one kind of staff, one faculty person to be your connector point, they can usually get you where you're trying to go in all those ways. So I'll just like throw that out for how students can kind of, if they want to feel heard. And if you want to be a part of and participate in what we're doing specifically in the LGBTQ plus Center in the fall, come by and see us. You can always email us. Our Instagram is lgbtcenter.sju. And to just look out for more things in the fall coming your way, like maybe a newsletter or a Substack, sign up, and then we're going to have a big actual grand opening in mid to late October. So that's something to look out for too. A big party. The fact that I just get to be here representing is great, but there are so many people who have done so much work for so long to get to where we are, that something like this can, you know, we just see the little tip of the iceberg, honestly, right now. And so over the time, I hope to be able to like shout out and pinpoint and incorporate and kind of highlight all the people who have done the kinds of inclusion work that has led to something like this being possible on St. John's campus.
Wonderful. Yeah, no one gets anywhere alone, though I must say, I really appreciate you taking the time and the responsibility to be the figure to speak with us today and share your experience and your insight. Honestly, thank you so much for all the work you do and for taking time out of your day to talk.